Well, first week of July, and I think we're just like a month or so away from BonyCan and probably MLP coming back for Season 6 Part 2, and so much stuff going on throughout this month that I figured, how about it? Um, but that won't affect the Ray Donovan Reviews in any way, so let's talk about this week's episode, which I'm afraid I'm going to mispronounce this title, which this title is called Marisol. Marisol. So what happened in the... So, as we know that Hector has some troubles with her girlfriend. Now, in the last episode, I did say that she had trouble with her girlfriend, okay? I didn't realize that the trouble with her girlfriend would mean, in fact, that would imply that Hector was with a girlfriend. I did not mean, like, it would be, like, some sort of prostitute or hobo or something like that. I actually found out during the episode that it was, in fact, her sister. There wasn't much notes taken on this episode, so this may be the shortest one. It may not be, but let's continue onwards. So anyways, it turns out that there's some big press around Hector's home, because it turns out that Marceau, Hector's girlfriend, is going to be interviewed on the local news just to say how much of a pain in the ass Hector is. But before Marisol could get on the news, how could I even say that name, she winds up getting kidnapped by Ray and the rest of the gang. Kidnapped by Ray and the assistant, as they get taken to Ray's high-end apartment to stay there until a certain amount of time that she could appear, or at least until she gets the proper time to get the right notes. And that's about it for on what happens to her. So, in this, but before that could happen, she drags Hector's girlfriend, or sister, I should say, Marceau, to talk about the situation at hand. But, as you know, she's still strong and deliverant on her answer, and she refuses to go down with the ship. So, she obviously wants to stay up and stay afloat. So they gotta figure out a way around this. But it ain't gonna be easy. And they obviously take it to the apartment, and we wait a little while for the situation at hand. For some further situations, Ray talks to the cops about Mickey to see if they could offer some sort of trade. Like maybe this in exchange for his father. And there is. Like that sort of deal happened. And what did they want? The guns. The guns from the shootout from last season. And it's gonna be tough trying to see the fact, especially seeing the fact is how one of his workers refuses to actually bring Ray the guns. And, anywho, Ray works on... Terry winds up cleaning out the trash, but little does Terry know is that there's a purse snatcher that winds up stealing Abby's purse and winds up stealing the contents out of it, and he tries to follow him into an alleyway, but by coincidence, he gets his ass handed to him. And what was inside? The wallet, the keys, and, by coincidence, the tickets to the boxing match that the dude was, that Abby and some of the family members were actually going to go to. And this spells out trouble for the rest of the FBI and this spells out trouble for some of the family members, especially since Terry's feeling down and out about how he couldn't, especially down and out, especially since his shakes and whatnot is holding him back from doing what he used to do. Because at least what he did was that he slowed down, he caught up, and then he slowed down. He tried to fight him, but like I said, he got his ass handed to him. Anywho, Ray winds up going to a spa and kidnaps a guy just to get one of his co-workers to get the guns over in trade for some money, which happens to work in return. Which, by coincidence, that actually happens to work. And in one of the funny scenes in the episode, when he's actually at his family's, in one of the workers' family homes, Ray's looking at a family book where he's got the kidnapped victim in a burlap sack, and he's just looking at the family book, and he's like, I can't believe you do this. And then Ray's just like, and you're a fat baby. Or something along those lines. And I just died of laughter. I mean, Ray Donovan can actually deliver like some hilarious lines when you take the time to actually take a look at it. Because sometimes dramas can actually do deliver some dark comedy. Or at least some derivative humor, if you settle that piece of time right. Meanwhile, when the time is right, Ray winds up getting Mickey back from the police, as they obviously trade the guns for Mickey back, and deports him back to Las Vegas. But in the meantime, until we can see that happen, Bunch winds up going with Abby to an adult shop, which I can't even mention on here because it's YouTube, and well, actually I think I could, because this is an MA-rated show and I've mentioned some other stuff in the past. He goes to a sex store where he finds out that to buy some something sexy for the girlfriend that winds up keep coming into his boxing gym. Which in return he winds up coming in, and which the relative who winds up finding out is pregnant, he just wants to make the person feel a little bit happy. And what does he do? Well, he buys something. I can't even mention it on here, but he buys something. When Mickey tells Ray about the $4 million that's hidden in that Las Vegas casino, which obviously Ray does not care about, or at least I should say doesn't give two shits about. So obviously Mickey returns to Las Vegas to try to see if he can figure out how to pull off this heist, or at least how the plan's going to turn out. I mean, I don't even know how it's going to pull out either. I mean, I'm not from the future or anything. I haven't seen next week's episode or anything like that. So, it's going to be a big question mark on how this is all going to turn out. But I look forward to seeing what happens there. Anyways, Terry winds up finding the purse snatcher, winds up finding Abby's purse from another person who actually has a similar looking purse, or at least the same purse that Abby has. She winds up obviously taking the person to the boxing gym, and she winds up having to force a confession out of her, which in return she winds up Abby winds up getting all of her contents back that was missing out of her purse, including the tickets to the boxing match with Hector there. And the guy who was in the gym actually winds up getting offered a chance to actually go to the winds up getting offered to go to the boxing match as well, while also going to offered a chance to go to the gym, while Terry stays at home to watch the match on Showtime, because it is a Showtime boxing match after all. Anyways, Marshall reads the statement that was written to her by Ray or somebody. I don't know who actually wrote the thing. But as Hector sits down and prepares for the match, he almost seems like he's very, very disappointed with the results of what Ray did with the whole with what Ray did in the results. After that, she jumps out of Ray's car and she gets away. But in the long end, and Hector winds up obviously telling Ray that when Ray goes to tell Ray about the situation and how she got away, this obviously upsets Hector, but hopefully this doesn't get too much in the way of his match, as he goes off to fight against his opponent. Now, everyone seems to be there, including the priest, who seems like he's just like, I see that you're doing this completely wrong. No, I'm seeing this as a completely right. I'm seeing that I'm doing this completely right. This is the way that things are going. You have to do this a certain way. That's sort of the way that the preacher is going with a lot of the situation that he keeps popping up in. But obviously, the preacher doesn't last long with Ray's conversations, as Hector seems to be down and out for the count, because obviously with the girlfriend getting away, he's down and out for the count and falls down to obviously getting beaten down and almost seeming like he lost the match. But we obviously won't know until next week's episode. And that, my friends, is the episode called Marso. And for the episode, I have to say that in this, well, it isn't as intriguing as the first episode. Heck, the first episode is actually pretty good. I mean, the second episode, it did have some idea of what it was going for the situations. I mean, if the preacher just keeps popping up out of nowhere, just telling Ray, you're not doing this right. I am doing this right. You're not doing this right. You have to talk to me. We have to confess. Confess! Then it'll get way too annoying way too fast. It's just I don't know, it's something I'm gonna have to get used to, because obviously Donovan rule number 1, never trust a preacher. Or priest, my mistake. I always keep calling the priest a preacher, because I don't know. But Marso, fine episode overall. Let's just wait until the halfway point just to see where the seasons are at. I mean, it'll probably be like 3/4 of the way until we decide where this season's at, because I think it's like the third or second season that's like the best of the bunch, because at least every character is like established, and like Ray is like, he had like some of his best moments in the past seasons. But either way, that's the way the show is. It's this time to tell an intriguing story with intriguing characters. while also at times trying to tell at least a couple of funny jokes in between. But anywho, if you actually have seen this episode, tell me what you thought down in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time for any sort of episode. Bye.